We will call the governing board meeting of the Lammersville Unified District Board to order at 7 o'clock p.m. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. At this time, please take a moment to silence your cell phones or turn them off. For those of you here that would like to address the board about a specific agenda item or a non-agenda item, we would ask that you fill out a blue comment card located in the back of the room so that we know when to call upon you. I believe that there are students here from Bethany Elementary School to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, Board President Olson, trustees, Dr. Nicholas. We are excited to be here again representing Bethany Elementary School. Just to give you a quick glimpse of our year before I let the ladies take over, we've had a great year. Our block schedule was a success, and we're moving on to next year where we tighten up a few things, but we're giving opportunities for students to have even more electives and more opportunities for intervention based on subjects. We've had some great success in our sports teams as well as our academic teams and band. But I really wanted our two leaders from ASB to speak tonight. We have Natalie Navarro and Vivian Zhang, and they're going to share a little bit about the state roles that they were recently elected to.
Good evening, President Olson, trustees, and Dr. Nicholas. I'm Natalie Navarro, Bethany ASB's president. Last April, 27 of our middle school ASB students attended the Castle State Conference. There, we attended general sessions with keynote speakers like Arik Jackson, Coach Vera Jo, and Carlos Ojeda Jr., who taught us about pushing past our limits and chasing our dreams.
Hi there, my name is Vivian Zhang, and I'm Bethany's media director. Bethany also had 13 students give mini Meet the Pros presentations to other students from throughout California. We also participated in activities like adult-led workshops, election speeches, night activities, and school debriefs.
I ran and was elected to be one of Castle's 2 freshman directors. Throughout the conference and my election experience, I learned how to improve my leadership skills, made connections with students from all over the state, and pushed myself far beyond my limits. What I am most excited for about my term on the Castle Board are the relationships I get to make with the best leaders in California and the preparation for Castle's 2025 state conference.
I've been Bethany's media coordinator for 2 years now, so I saw the position of Castle's media director as a way to improve my media skills while also giving back to this organization that I've come to love. During my election process, I was able to work with and learn from previous media directors, which was definitely one of my favorite parts of the whole conference. They also gave me the opportunity to film a general session with them. During my term on the board, I hope to experiment with anything and everything media, while also getting to learn from my 4 fellow media directors from throughout California.
Up here are a few pictures that encapsulate the joy that Castle provided Bethany ASB with at the conference. As you can see, we strengthened friendships, participated in lively night dances, enjoyed our lunches, visited an amusement park, and gave Meet the Pros presentations. Also, Vivian and I were awarded the Notable Excellence in Service Award due to a fundraising project we executed for a local family shelter a few months ago.
On the left right there, you'll see a photo of a few of our Bethany kids fully decked out in our Bethany spirit. And then on the right, there are some friendship bracelets we made to trade at the conference, since our ASB theme this year is Taylor Swift, which if you've been keeping up with the Eras Tour, which I've been doing obsessively, but hey, that's just me, you'll understand the connection. And then in the middle right there is one of the reels we posted to our ASB account, bethany.asb, which you guys should follow. Yeah. Oh, the audio is really quiet. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions for us?
I'd just like to thank you for your report. It was a great report, great media. And congratulations to the both of you on being elected to those state offices. What a great achievement.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say congratulations as well. Fantastic job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a great report.
All right.
I just want to say that I was there at the Student of Month assemblies, and you guys did an amazing job there.
Thank you so
And
much.
congratulations again.
All right. Any more questions? Nothing?
Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing us to present about our incredible experience at Castle.
All right, moving on to item 3, roll call.
Lisa Boulay,
Here.
Colin Clements,
Here.
Benita Daniel,
Here.
Stephanie Olson,
Here.
David Pombo,
Here,
Devika Vitulani.
Here.
Moving on to item 4, approval and/or corrections to the agenda.
there are none.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Boulay and seconded by trustee Clements, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. Moving on to item 5, board recognition. And I'm going to have the staff report by trustee Clements on this one.
Thank you, Madam President. With all of the discussions about expectations surrounding board member attendance, it occurred to me that I didn't recall a single meeting during the 10 years that I've been on the board where Dr. Nicholas was absent. I confirmed with Noel that indeed Dr. Nicholas has been at every meeting of this board since he started. That includes every regular meeting, every special meeting, every board workshop, every town hall, in fact, every meeting. To me, that seemed like something that the board should celebrate. As this is a personnel matter, the board was able to confer together, and we quickly reached a consensus that this really does warrant public recognition. I want to thank Noel for being the creative genius behind this Superintendent's Perfect Attendance Award. It is a bit of a pun or play on words because awards like honor roll and perfect attendance normally come from the superintendent. That being said, simply acknowledging that Dr. Nicholas has been here whenever we need him does not even begin to realize or recognize the valuable service that he has performed and continues to perform for this district. I have commented on the dais many times that I sincerely wish that the public could even see a fraction of all of the things that Dr. Nicholas and his team work on and through on an ongoing basis. I've also commented that it is analogous to the duck on the pond, where above the surface everything looks calm and smooth, but below the surface the duck's feet are paddling like crazy. I've been a professional in the real estate development and construction industry for over 30 years, and until I got on the board, even I didn't understand that one of the biggest and most complicated challenges this district faces is the planning, designing, financing, and building of new schools so that a school is ready and waiting when the students show up for the class on their first day of school. The public doesn't have to know or be bothered with the details because that is Dr. Nicholas's job. The reality is that Dr. Nicholas's entire tenure with this district, there has never been a time where 4 different schools were not on our radar screen, all at the same time. One is in planning, while another is in design and development, while yet another is in construction, and the fourth one is in its first year of operations with all the challenges of running a new school for its first year. The list of questions and worries surrounding this issue is never ending, but the issues and status of negotiations are generally confidential, so the public is shielded from those worries, as it should be. This is just one facet of the complexities and challenges that the district faces on a daily basis. Collectively, the board wanted to recognize Dr. Nicholas for his leadership in the face of adversity, as well as his perfect attendance. We know that he is an avid golfer, but it has come to our attention that he has never played at Montreux, which is a Jack Nicklaus signature championship golf course just outside of Reno, Nevada. As it happens, my aunt and uncle live in Montreux, and my uncle has agreed to arrange for Dr. Nicholas to join him for a round of golf on Saturday, June 8th. The board has also collaborated to get a room at the Peppermill Casino Resort and Spa for Dr. Nicholas and his wife for 3 nights, arriving on Thursday, June 6th and checking out on Sunday, June 9th. Dr. Nicholas, I am sure that the other board members will have comments, but I just wanted to tell you what an honor it has been working with you on the board for almost 10 years, and to say thank you for all that you have done and continue to do for our students and our community. We hope you really enjoy your long weekend with your wife and playing golf at one of the most beautiful golf courses I have ever seen. Thanks again and congratulations.
Well, thank you. I start by saying thank you, Mr. Pombo, for hiring me out of a place that was not a happy place. No, I working here is like having a second family, and these people out here in the audience who come to work and work hard every day and enjoy hard work is a grandson of a Grapes of Wrath Oakie's dream. And so I have had finishing up 11 years now, a joyous, not to say not challenged, experience, and with leaders such as the board and the wisdom and the kindness that you guys operate in your role. I will gladly try not to lose any balls at Montreux. My last name's Nicholas, but I have no relation to the great Jack, the Golden Bear. And I will try to emulate his great game in his prime. But I thank you very, very much. I very much appreciate it. So does my wife, by the way.
And I would just like to say you're welcome. And thank you for your dedication and hard work over the last almost 12 years, 11 plus. It's been a pleasure to work with you, and now this is sounding like one of us is going somewhere, and as far as I know, we're not, but thank you.
Thank you.
And I'd like to echo Trustee Clement's words. They were very elegant. I can't top what he said, but I feel the same way. And I've always been impressed, particularly with the magic financing that you do for our schools when there is no money to be had, yet you work and you work and you work and you find that money. And the way that you lead your team so efficiently. And I know there's some tough decisions that you have to make every day, but I feel like you and your team make this job as a board member easy for us. And
Thank you.
that's my opinion, but thank you so much for your leadership.
Thank you.
I just want to say that I appreciate your commitment to our school district, and working with you, I'm aware that you have a lot of empathy for each and every student here. So thank you so much for being that person.
Thank you.
And I will echo everyone's words that they've all reflected a little bit of what I think about you, Dr. Nicholas. And I want to add that I have not been on the board for 10 years. However, I was here when you arrived. I was a parent speaking often from that pulpit. And I do have fond memories of often Dr. Nicholas was the only friendly face that was looking back at me. So Trustee Daniel, you are accurate that he has the empathy. But and then serving on the board with you has been a great honor. I feel like you're constantly striving to bring everybody up and lift people up with you, and that's what a leader does, and that's very something I admire very much. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And we would love to take a picture up front.
Right on.
With this really cool award.
Moving on to item 6, committee reports. Item A, District Advisory Committee. Trustee Boulay?
Thank you. The District Advisory Committee met this evening, and Assistant Superintendent Sharp gave us an update of the Local Control Accountability Plan. We are starting a new 3-year rotation this coming fall that will run through 2027. She reviewed the 8 state priorities, the 3 district goals, their actions, and the measurements that we use to determine how well we are accomplishing these goals. And as a review, those goals are systematic closure of the opportunity gaps, instruction and curriculum efficacy, I have to slow down, 21st century outcomes, and stakeholder communication. She also reviewed the 2023 CASP results and showed a comparison to how well we are doing in relation to some of the East Bay districts, and I have to say we are doing very well. She also showed us some of the subgroups that we monitor and how even our subgroups are outperforming the general state and county numbers. So overall, we are doing very well, and that was the end of our District Advisory Committee.
Thank you, Trustee Boulay. District English Language Advisory Committee, Trustee Clements.
Nothing to report.
Item C, Education Committee, Trustee Pombo.
Nothing to report.
Item D, Facilities Committee, Trustee Pombo, can you report on that?
I can. The Facilities Committee met on May 9th. We went over typical committee business and also heard a request for a group to use the Mountain House High School Stadium for cricket. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Item E, Policy Committee, Trustee Daniel.
We have some updates on board policy and administrative regulations. We will have the first read on the updates on June 18th.
Thank you, Trustee Daniel. Item F, Safety Committee, Trustee Pombo.
Nothing to report.
And item G, Wellness Committee, there is nothing to report. Moving on to item 7, Governing Board Reports. Student Trustee Vitellani.
Good evening, Esteemed Board members. To start my updates, I would like to begin from Mountain House High School. So recently, the chess club held a successful chess tournament for middle school students where they were competing for the top position. They had over 44 students compete, and they had lots of fun learning and competing. As the school year comes to a close, many of the clubs have hosted fun-filled banquets to both appreciate the members and bid farewell to their favorite seniors. And best of luck to all of the Mountain House High School teams competing during the summer tournaments. For ASB updates, prom took place on Saturday. It was an amazing night at San Francisco where high schoolers made lasting memories. Leading up to prom was leadership class's most anticipated 3-day scavenger hunt with grand prizes. Students were able to receive items such as designer makeup, sports team merchandise, and AirPods Max. For additional high school updates, as the AP testing week is slowly coming to a close, I hope that every student did their very best. And as seniors prepare to finish their last week of school this week, we wish all of the freshmen, sophomore, and junior Mustangs a very best of luck for their finals next week. Senior graduation will take place on May 23rd. This is a significant event and marks the significant completion of the academic journey. Congratulations to the class of 2024. All of your hard work and dedication has truly paid off. To conclude my report tonight, having served as a student board member this year, I can confidently say that it has been one of the most significant experiences in my high school career. I've learned so much, met so many new people, and I've gotten so much more involved in the community than ever before. With that being said, I am thrilled to announce that I will be serving as a student board member for the 2024 to 2025 school year. I cannot wait to continue That concludes my report for tonight. Thank you.
Trustee Boulay.
Thank you. On May 6th, I attended the Senior Awards Night at the high school with many other of the trustees. And it was a great night with hundreds of awards being given to our accomplished high school students. And I want to congratulate not just the award winners on that night, but all of our high school students, because I think they all work hard and strive to achieve and do their best. On May 7th, I attended the Boys High School tennis sectional semifinals. Not only did they win the semifinals, but 3 days later, they won the final championship round for the section. So they now have the title of section champ. And then a couple of their players went on Monday and Tuesday to compete in individual events. And we do have a student who won the individual singles championship, and our doubles team was a semifinalist. So they were in the final round, but they came in second. But anyway, congratulations to our boys tennis team. It was a heck of a year. On May 8th, I attended the CSD meeting and provided a school district update to our board of directors for the town. And earlier this evening, I attended the district advisory committee. This is the last meeting of our academic year, and so I want to wish all of our students best of luck with their finals this week and next week. And I hope that our students and our families and our staff have a great summer vacation. I hope they're safe, and I hope that they take time to relax and just enjoy their free time. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Trustee Boulay. Trustee Clements.
Thank you, Madam President. A couple of weeks ago, I attended Beauty and the Beast at Questa Elementary School. I really wanted to thank the staff and parents for supporting the program, because I thought the students did a fantastic job, and I had a lot of fun watching it. I had planned on attending the awards ceremony at the high school, but an obligation at work cropped up at the last minute, and I was not able to attend. I did want to publicly congratulate all of the Mountain House High School students on all of the recognition and awards they received. There are always so many that my hands are always stinging by the end of the night from clapping, so maybe I'm not no, I'm just kidding. I also wanted to specifically congratulate Megan Beard, who was the recipient of this year's annual Clements Family Scholarship, so congratulations to Megan. Looking forward to it. I am also looking forward to attending the commencements and graduations next week. And finally, one last reminder that I will not be at any of the board meetings in June, as my family will be on an extended trip to Europe. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Clements. Trustee Pombo.
Yes, on May 3rd, I attended the Hanson Luau. It was very enjoyable. The kids seemed to be having a lot of fun. Then I went to the Wizard of Oz at Questa Elementary, which was a fabulous production, very, very enjoyable. And then later that evening, I got to see part of the Mountain House High School dance program. A lot of talented dancers at Mountain House High School. On May 6th, I attended the Senior Awards at Mountain House High School and had the honor of presenting the second annual David D. Pombo Memorial Scholarship to Ali Chandonnet. She was very appreciative of that. On May 7th, I attended the LUSD Middle School Orchestra, and a lot of talented middle school kids. I was amazed at the sound of the music. On May 9th, I met with Superintendent Nicholas and Assistant Superintendent Grahava to ask them some questions for the upcoming CSBA Delegate Assembly, which I will be attending this weekend. And that evening, I attended the Facilities Committee meeting. On May 13th, I attended the DARE graduation at Hanson Elementary. It was the final DARE graduation in our district for Officer Abercrombie. And I really, and I think everybody in the district really appreciates his dedication to our district over the many years. He's been doing DARE in our district for 20 years. And then I went to the Mountain Health Athletic Boosters meeting, and if anybody hearing this report is interested in serving a board position on that board, I encourage them to get a hold of either Corey Strock, who's the current president of Boosters, or anybody at the high school should be able to direct him where they need to go. And then earlier today, I attended a CSBA webinar on the May revise, which could be better, but it could be worse. So there's that. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Pombo. Trustee Daniel.
Thank you, President. I'd like to start my report with May 4th, an important day of my life, my birthday. So I celebrated my birthday at Disneyland with my family, and that has always been one on my wish list, and it was fulfilled. So I'm so grateful for another blessed year. On May 6th, I attended the Mountain House High School Senior Awards Night with my fellow trustees. It was a very well organized event and so many awards. Congratulations to all the seniors, the teachers, and the parents. On May 7th, it was a great start to my morning, watching the Disney Moana Junior play, along with the 3rd and 5th graders, teachers, and Principal Vogel. The kids did an amazing job with their performance, and it was such a treat to watch them. I also did get to understand that the costumes and the props were made by the students, an outstanding effort. Kudos to all the performers, backstage crew, Kerry Starling, director, Amber Hill, who did the costumes, and Chris Hickson, who did the props, lights, and sound. I also appreciate Principal Bogle, who was kind enough to give me company while watching the play. I really enjoyed watching it with her. On May 9th, I attended the open house at Wigland Elementary School. I had the opportunity to visit and talk to the teachers from a few elementary, middle, and special ed classrooms. It was great to see the end of year projects and all the excited kids presenting their accomplishments to the parents and grandparents. A big thank you to all the teachers, admin, custodian, and staff for their time and care throughout this year. On May 13th, I attended the Student of Month Assembly at Bethany Elementary School, which was led by Natalie and Vivian and fellow other ASB students. They did an amazing job. Many students were presented with the Student of Month Awards, followed by birthday celebration. The highlight of the assembly was there was a band, and the song was sung by the choir. So that was a great addition, which I enjoyed in the assembly. And I also enjoyed them calling out Guru Awards and ST Math Awards, which made me feel like all the renewals that we are approving here are greatly benefiting our students. On May 13th, evening at 6 p.m., I also attended the DARE graduation along with Trustee Pombo. And it was a little emotional being the last meeting for Officer Abercrombie. And he has left back like a big shoe to fill. But I really appreciate all his efforts. On May 13th, I also attended the Athletic Boosters Meet because Trustee Pombo had mentioned about how the athletics booster is in need of more members and somebody to take up the leadership. I really wanted to go and hear and understand. So I did hear what they shared, and I would also like to encourage our community members to be part of the athletics booster and keep it going. On May 15th, that's today, at 6 p.m., I attended the Mountain House High School Spring Sports Awards. It was just great to see so many athletes, and I was able to be there only for 45 minutes, and then I had to come to the board meeting. So I was there till the junior varsity and the varsity track teams were announced. They announced over 103 students who were part of just the track team. So congratulations to all the students who are part of the sports, and they are putting in so much effort and time along with the academic achievements. So I also wanted to announce and let everyone know that I will be missing the meeting during July. There is one meeting, I think July 17th, and I will be missing that. I have to travel to India to attend my niece's wedding. This is the first wedding in 15 years, and so it's the next generation. I'm so excited to be there. I did let my fellow board members know during the month of April when I got to hear about the date. So I will be gone just for that meeting, and I will be back. So I apologize for any inconvenience and stress that my absence is causing, but I'm really appreciative of your kindness. Thank you. Lastly, I do want to talk about I think something that I did discuss a year ago, a year back, with my fellow board members as well as Dr. Nicholas. I just wanted to talk about it here. So last year, during the same time after our high school graduation, I flew to Texas, where I was attending my best friend's son's graduation. It was a high school graduation too. And generally when I go to events, I try to see what is unique, what can I take back from there, what are the unique things that they do, which we may be able to learn from there. And one thing I happened to see, and I also shared with everyone, was on the stage, there were board members, there were school district officials, but the district directors were also on the stage, along with the board members and the school district officials. And I really liked it because they were introduced to the community members, and they were, the community and the students were able to see the people who played a big role towards their school. So I did share with my fellow trustees and Dr. Nicholas when I came back, and because I really liked that, and I wanted to request and see if we could do that now that we are having the graduation, if my fellow trustees would also be okay with that, because the directors of our school district, everyone is present there at graduation. From my opinion, the directors are the pillars, because you lead an amazing team, and from every department, you play a very important role. And I know that many community members, when they reach out to me with any request, I do direct them to, the directors and your team, but they know your name very well. And they reach out to you via email. But I do feel that if they could see you in person, see all the directors in person, that would be great. So it's a request. I don't know how big the stage is, if we'll have chairs, but It's just something that I felt was great at the Flowermont High School, and I would like to see it also happen at our high school going forward. So there ends my report.
Thank you, Trustee Daniel. I think, I don't want to speak for all the board members, but I think that, well, I think we all support your statement about the importance of our directors. I don't feel comfortable mandating that as a board member because I don't think that's my purview, and I don't know what anyone else thinks. I think that the high school principal and administration plan graduations, and so the suggestion could be offered to them, but I don't feel comfortable as a board saying this is what we want you to do.
Sure. I totally understand, and if we could suggest, if that's the path to take, I would love to provide that as a suggestion to the high school principal, and then we can take it forward from there. Thank you, President.
You're welcome. And I have to say that happy belated birthday. As a Star Wars fan, I'm very jealous that the May the 4th is always with you.
That's good.
On May 3rd, I attended The Wizard of Oz at Cuesta with Trustee Pombo and Trustee Clements, and I love the drama productions. They're all so great, and this was no different. And I love the creativity with the props, and I love how it involves a lot of students who maybe don't like to be on the stage, but they like to do something to support those on the stage. So it involves more children than you even know or see at the performance. And then I'm not stalking Trustee Pombo, but I also headed over to the high school as soon as The Wizard of Oz was over and caught the Synergy Dance production, at least the second half of it. And wow, that program has grown. I'm like, they might have to have 2 nights with 2 completely different performances with the number of dancers they have, but it was really amazing. I'm so glad I was able to catch at least half of it. And on May 6th, I attended the Senior Awards Night with many of my trustees and continued to be amazed at all the wonderful things our students accomplish and congratulate them again on all of their achievements. And kind of chuckle to myself that there are so many awards that so many of our students earn that we have to just have them stand up from the audience because it would take literally hours upon hours if we read their names over and over again. It's a great problem to have. And I just really want to let them know that we're very proud of them. And then today, I also attended the CSBA webinar on the Prop 98 budget. And I agree with what Trustee Pombo said. It's not as bad as it could be, but it's not as great as it could be. And that concludes my report. Moving on to item 8, receiving of public comments. I do not see any comment cards. Is there any member of the audience who would like to make a comment? Seeing none, with the board's permission, I'll forego reading the policy. All right, and we're moving on to item 9, consent items for consideration. Actions proposed for consent are consistent with the approved practices of the district and are deemed routine in nature. Trustees receive board agenda background information in advance of scheduled meetings and are prepared to vote with knowledge on the consent items. Item A, governing board minutes, regular meeting, May 1st, 2024, 7 p.m. Item B, contracts under $50,000. Item C, ratification of certificated and classified personnel actions. Item D, updated 2023-2024 fundraisers. Item E, ratification of 2024-2025 inter-district transfer requests. And item F, ratification of school-sponsored overnight trips. Does any board member wish to poll or further discuss any item?
Move to approve consent items.
Second.
On a motion by Trustee Pombo and seconded by Trustee Clements, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. Madam Clerk, will you please do the honors?
Yes, thank you. I would like to welcome the following new employees to Lammersville. Matthew Belize, social science teacher. Sonali Arande, special educational instruction aide. Yolanda Tituana, world language Spanish teacher. And Michelle Wolf, social science teacher. Welcome to the Lammersville family.
Moving on to item 10, district administrative reports. Item A, superintendent's report.
Yes, just a couple of things. We have a slide here. We had a lot of diverse and unique, not unique in terms of high school, but the size, scale, and success rates. Our AP Calculus AB and BC testing had over 276 students participate. My son took the Calculus AB test as a junior, and based on what he said, it is a challenge of epic proportions. So to have 276 students take that test and the even harder one, congratulations to all just for taking on the endeavor. And then Trustee Boulay referenced it, the Division I section championships. So everyone who ever walks into a high school gym, you look up and see all the championships, but it's the blue banner that tells you the big one. So winning a section title is the best of all the leagues in a particular region in the state. So congratulations to Coach Sue. I believe this is their second section title, but Division II means you're in a big high school division. So the bigger the high school division, usually the more competitive the groups you play against. So congratulations to them. And then we had a really successful event with the SJCOE art show, and Jacob Astores won the best of the best with a interesting ceramic expression of art, and Vanessa Lee and her cute little rabbit, and Arwen, I don't know how to say the last name, I'm going to say Angeles, and that was best in category with, I'm going to call it an impressionist and Where the Wild Things Are riff in that artwork. So congratulations to all of them. And then we already celebrated this, but we were featured, Mountain House High School and not the auditorium theater, and our students from the GATE program, 7th and 8th grade, were highlighted in the periodical for the SJCOE. So congratulations to all. And then multiple board members have requested that we put together some kind of community information for people in the community who are interested in being a board member, what a board member is, the life and the tales of board members. And so Noelle put this together, and I think it's a really nice resource. And she's going to, so you pull it up and you have a nice geometric shape on the board page, and then you can click on each one of the links, and it gives you different pieces and sources of information. And so we have our handbook, and then a lot of CSBA information as well. So you have information about what the standards of governance are, and what it takes to lead from CSBA. Again, information about people who are trying to understand what you do and trying to understand if they might want to do it. Information about California school boards. And then the bylaws which govern this body, which explains specifically what you do in policy language. So we thought that'd be a good start. We're happy to take any feedback from the board once you get a chance to look at that, but we thought this met the spirit of the request. And that is my report.
Thank you. Item B, district enrollment report.
Yes, 7,854 students.
All right. Item C, district maintenance operations report.
Easy. Good evening. Thanks for having me. First up, I have operations report from Director Jason Dixon. It says latest updates. One custodial position to fill at the high school. Stage curtains at the high school are being cleaned at the end of the month on May 29th. And then graduations are being planned and set up at the sites now as we speak. So moving on to maintenance. Summer's here, weather's turned warmer. We had to turn all the water on 3-4 weeks ago. We're currently watering 4 days a week as it stands now. As we move further in summer and temperatures approach 100, we may have to increase that more. Right now we're at 4 days a week. We had some irrigation controller issues at Cordis and Bethany. They're fixed, but those sites might not be as green as the rest of the sites. Spring sports for the high schools pretty much wrapped up, and the K-8 soccer program's wrapped up, so that's good news. Our grounds guys can focus on some other things. That takes a lot of their time. The rest of this week and next week, we'll be focusing on the high school stadium, make sure it's good for graduation next week. Update on the pool. The water level was a little low last week, probably 3 inches or so. Made a slight adjustment to the new autofill valve. Took care of the problem, so that's not an issue anymore. And then everything else is working good. Chemicals is good, temps are good, solar's working good, everything's fine. So on May 13th, 2 days ago, I met with the principal, athletic director, and Michelle at the high school, our last meeting of the year, facilities meeting of the year for the high school. Kind of reviewed what we did. We talked about graduation and things they want to see happen this summer at the high school. So that's good. Last Wednesday, we attended the EPIC intern. They do their end of the year presentation. It was in the library at the high school. Myself and Juan and Arturo, our two groundskeepers, we all went to support our students. It was kind of funny what see their perceptions of what the work was and how they complained about the weather and other things they had to do. But anyways, I want to personally thank Juan and Arturo, our two groundskeepers. They've pretty much been responsible for their 4 interns all year. They pick them up from the high school, they take them back for lunch, to other things. So I want to publicly thank them for doing that all year. And our last day with the interns is technically tomorrow. So, updating our projects, the new classroom building at the high school, we had a pre-bid job walk yesterday at the high school, 9 o'clock in the morning, with Roblin and some of their potential subcontractors. Roblin's bringing their construction trailer in the first week of June. It'll be on the basketball courts, quarter south of the CTE building. We'll be right in there somewhere. Construction is scheduled to start on June 25th. It's going to take about a year, so estimated completion is June 25th, 2025. So, the Cuesta Montessori and Bethany Playgrounds did a job walk on Tuesday, April 23rd. I don't have a firm construction date yet. I have some tentative dates, but the work will be completed this summer at both those sites. We did start our trip hazard mitigation at spring break, got a couple of days, and the rest of that work will be done this summer. The windscreens at the high school came in. We haven't had time to put them up yet. We're going to wait till school's out next week and then do it the following week when everyone's gone and pray for a non-windy day and make it easier on all of us to do that. So, upcoming items, obviously next week's last week of school. We have promotions and then the big graduation on Thursday night at the high school. And then it's pretty much off the races for us for our summer work and projects and cleaning and so on and so forth. And staffing update for us, we currently have no openings, maintenance or grounds. So you may remember earlier in the year, we talked about maybe even a year ago, 5, 6, 7 open positions. We basically have 1 right now for both departments. So knock on wood, that's good news. Happy to answer any questions.
I don't have a question, just a comment about the EPIC students and their year-end presentations. I went last year and very much enjoyed it. I didn't realize it had happened already this year. I would have enjoyed going to it again.
It was fun. It was funny to be out there. We were laughing, and they were calming down the highly professional groundskeepers, Arturo and Juan. So I was giving them a bad time about that. So it was a good program, a good success, and hopefully it will continue on the next year. And we could, that we had 4 kids, which is quite a bit. Last year we only had 3, so maybe we'll do more even next year. So, anything else? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 11, action items. Item A.
Point of order?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, Ms. Hill. Can't skip. That was such a great report that I read with all the great numbers, and I apologize.
And it's Food Service Workers Appreciation Week to boot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good evening. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what the Food Service Department has been up to during this year and our plans for 24-25. So far this year, we have served just under 1 million meals for all of our schools. We've had about $4.6 million in revenue. That includes federal and state reimbursement, as well as a la carte sold to students. We've had $3.5 million in expenses. Food costs continue to rise. We're working on our bid right now, and it just keeps going up. That's leaving us with a profit of about $1.1 million so far this year. At the end of last year, our net cash resources surpassed our allowances, and we had to submit a 5-year spending plan to the state, and I'll discuss some of those plans here. We've been busy this year. We purchased 2 new dishwashers and had them installed at Bethany and at Altamont. Altamont's original dishwasher was too short to handle the tall sheet pans, So they had to wash them all by hand. They are very happy not to have to do that anymore. As you know, we purchased 2 new vending machines at the high school. It was a long process getting them up and running. We had a multitude of issues with the vendor, but now that they're up and running, I'm happy to say that we've served 1,637 reimbursable breakfasts and 1,048 lunches, reimbursable lunches. And we're also providing food for the students outside of school hours, so, after school. Sometimes on weekends, we're seeing Saturday school students also purchase items. Thanks to Jason Dixon, we were able to purchase a new delivery van. With the growing district and the new walk-in freezers, this has allowed our delivery person the ability to make less back and forth trips. She's very happy about that. One of our food service workers took the initiative to look into and sign up for the pre-apprentice program through the Chef Ann Foundation. We put out the information to all of our staff this spring, and we had 2 employees, Kiko Silva and Ashley Danaker, both participate in the pre-apprentice program. It's afforded them the time to further educate themselves about school food service, learn new aspects of the department, and really start the process of learning how to bring more scratch cooking to our district. I'm very proud to say that after their completion of the pre-apprentice program, they will both continue with the apprentice program in the fall. In addition, other employees are showing interest in this program and enrolling in the pre-apprentice program for the fall as well. And I'm very excited and very proud of all of them. Finally, here are some of our plans for the 24-25 school year. Our spending plan includes a refurbishment of Lammersville Elementary kitchen, which is in desperate need. We'll be updating almost everything in the kitchen, new ovens, stoves, dishwashers, serving lines, etc. We're very, very excited about this project. We're also looking to replace ovens in 5 schools: Wickland, Bethany, Cuesta, Altamont, and the high school. The cost to service these ovens right now it's just too high. It's cheaper to go buy new ones. We'll be opening the Snack Shack in Building A at the high school. We're excited to give students an additional place to get lunch and hopefully help with the time in line. We're providing continuing training for all of our employees, and it's really important that we do this. Keep them engaged, keep them knowledgeable about what's happening. We've been using a company called Lunch Assist to provide us with an online training modules that the employees can watch. And this year we're hoping to take some of our leads to our annual conference in Sacramento. Finally, we added a module to our current production and menu planning software to include perpetual inventory system. We've been testing this system the entire year, and we'll be going live with this system in all of the schools in August. While it's been a lot of work on the part of our kitchen leads during the testing process, the hope is that they'll become more automated. The system will be more automated and free them up, free time for them to do more scratch cooking and more things within the kitchen and less paperwork. I'm really proud of the hard work and the dedication from all of our food service staff at LUSD, and that concludes my report. If anybody has any questions.
Thank you. Any questions by the board?
I don't have a question, but I just want to share something with you, which happened today morning.
Okay.
So I understand all the goals and all the wonderful information that you already shared, and also the quotes. So today morning, after a workout session that I go to, and then I was one of my partner, she needed a ride. So I was just dropping her, and she said, we were just discussing, okay, so what are you going to cook for lunch? And she said, oh, you know what, I'm not going to cook anything today because my son is going to have his lunch at school. He just loves his lunch today because today is his favorite food. So I asked her, what's the lunch today? And she said, it's veggie burger. So it's a holiday for, he's going to enjoy it there. It's a holiday for me. So you made 2 people, the family, happy.
Wonderful.
So thank you so much for your service. Thanks to your team for your service.
Thank you so much.
I wanted to say thank you for the great report and information. Thanks for all that you do. I know that food service is a challenge in the best of times, and and I really appreciate it. I remember before I was on the board and we were friends, and you were given the offer to be this person for the district, and I'm really glad you accepted.
Thank you very much. I cried for a year that first year. But it's been great, so thank you.
Yeah, I'd
Thank
just
you.
like to echo the thanks. And my favorite, if they still make it, I don't know, because now that I teach school, I don't get to come and try lunches once in a while, but was the chicken and waffles.
Oh, we still do that, but only at the elementary schools.
Yes.
Yes.
That's my favorite.
That's their treat. The high schoolers are jealous. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, now moving on to item 11, action items. Item A, consider approval of the 24-25 Lammersville Unified School District California Interscholastic Federation, CIF representatives, Mr. Adam Auerbach, and alternative representatives, Mrs. Alini White and Mrs. Renee Nunn. Staff report?
Yeah, we do this every year. It identifies who's going to help out with the CIF.
Move to approve the 2024-25 Lammersville Unified School District California Interscholastic Federation CIF representatives, Mr. Adam Auerbach, and alternative representatives, Mrs. Aline White and Mrs. Renee Nunn.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Clements and seconded by trustee Boulay, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. Item B, consider approval to close regular session to open the public hearing for developer fee justification study. Staff report?
Yes, we do this every other year. This is the route we take so that we can raise developer fees, which gathers more money in the residential and the commercial and the industrial areas. And that's how in one of the ways we try to mitigate cost of construction.
Move to approve to close regular session to open the public hearing for developer fee justification study.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Pombo and seconded by trustee Boulay, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. We are now in public hearing.
I can run around and
I will entertain a motion.
move to close the public hearing and return to regular session.
Second.
Ooh, I'm gonna give that to.
Snagged it.
On a motion by trustee Clements and seconded by trustee Daniel, all in favor, or student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. We are back to regular session, right? We're on item E. Consider approval of developer fee justification study. Is there any additional staff report? None.
None.
Move to approve developer fee justification study.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Pombo and seconded by trustee Clements, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. Moving on to item F. Consider approval of Governing Board Resolution number 23-24-16, adopting and implementing an increase in Level 1 developer fees levied on residential development and levying fees on commercial and industrial development to fund the construction and reconstruction of school facilities. Staff report?
We strongly recommend raising the fees.
Move to approve the Governing Board Resolution 23-24-16, adopting and implementing an increase in Level 1 developer fees levied on residential development and levying fees on commercial and industrial development to fund the construction and reconstruction of school facilities.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Boulay and seconded by trustee Pombo, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
Roll call?
Lisa Boulay,
Aye.
Colin Clements,
Aye.
Vanita Daniel,
Aye.
Stephanie Olson,
Aye.
David Pombo.
Aye.
The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. Moving on to item G, consider approval of contract renewal with the Core Collaborative for Professional Development in 24-25 school year. Total cost $353,383.50. Staff report?
Yes, this is the third year on working on the Impact Teams project. In a nutshell, the professional learning community model we originally implemented was a 4-question, big picture, way of bringing and building school cultures and ultimately district culture in a direction that move towards data drives discussions, data drives instruction. It needed to be modernized, so we went out and found the impact teams model through the core collaborative. This investment is a district-wide professional development. Will be our third year of doing it. It'll be the last large-scale investment, and then we will be taking it over with only a little bit of follow-up training and targeted training coming from the core collaborative. So we recommend this. It's one of the district goals, and it'll help us accomplish that.
Move to approve the contract renewal with the Core Collaborative for Professional Development in the 24-25 school year. Total cost $353,383.50.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Boulay and seconded by trustee Daniel, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. Item H, consider approval of Governing Board Resolution number 23-24-17 to support the San Joaquin County Delta College Bond Measure. Staff report.
Yes, there's a long history around the development of the San Joaquin County, or San Joaquin Delta College Mountain House campus for a lot of dynamical reasons. There was a battle around it. Ultimately, a campus was identified for Mountain House instead of Tracy. That campus is all portables, and the only means of funding permanent structures is through a general obligation bond, county-wide, and so we went out and took some pictures so folks could see it. This is the Delta campus. This resolution would say this board supports a bond measure that would allow for permanent structures, one focused on CTE and labs and classrooms, and the other one which would have an admin building, additional classrooms, and a big gathering room lecture hall. So we were contacted by Dr. Garza Roderick and Dr. Ortega to see if we would support this, and I brought this forward as a means of communicating that we would like to see Delta invest in its Mountain House campus.
Madam President, I have a clarifying question for the superintendent. I believe you said, but just to reiterate, this is a countywide bond measure, correct?
Correct.
And one of the myriad of projects that it will fund would be buildings at the Mountain House campus. Is that correct?
Correct. As a priority project, yes.
Do we know if for the bond to pass, does it have to be 51% or does it have to be higher?
I believe it's the 55% model from I think it's called Prop 51, but yeah, so that's the 55% model. So they'll have to have a citizens bond oversight committee.
Thank you.
So I also have a clarifying question. I understand it's mentioned, but I just want to clarify it again. We are supporting the college bond measure, but there is no financial impact that
Correct. We're not giving any money. We're giving spiritual support.
Got it. Thank you.
Move to approve of Governing Board Resolution 232417 to support San Joaquin County Delta College bond measure.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Pombo and seconded by trustee Clements, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Roll call vote.
I haven't asked for the
Oh,
vote
sorry,
yet.
sorry.
The yeah, but yes, roll call vote.
Lisa Boulay,
Aye.
Colin Clements,
Aye.
Benita Daniel,
Aye.
Stephanie Olson,
Aye.
David Pombo.
Aye.
Motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. Moving on to item I, consider approval of school facilities impact mitigation agreement with Pulte. Staff report.
Yes, I'm going to go down to the podium for this short presentation. Good evening, Madam President, Madam Student Trustee, board members. I'm going to give a short presentation related to the action item I on our board agenda. It's related to a long negotiation that started a couple of years ago, and it's finally come to fruition, at least an important part for our ongoing efforts to find construction funding. It's subtitled LUSD's effort to complete Costa Elementary School construction while overcoming developer non-performance. All right, so just a quick overview for historical context. The mitigation agreement that was signed in 1998 by the school district and the original developer established a set of rules and principles in which the funding for K-8 schools would be acquired. And so basically, Mello-Roos bonds, which are paid by fee by house, and state construction fund bond funding are the two means. So the state funds married to and added to the Mello-Roos bonds generates the source of funds to build the school. In order to get the state funds, you have to have a state construction bond. There's currently no state construction bond, but one going forward on the November 2024 ballot, which is supposed to go up to $15 billion to go for new construction projects and modernization. We will soon have 3 projects on the funding list in which a bond would bring money to the district. The other key piece is, and this is something that has created some discord over the years, is it defines the responsibilities when funding is short or delayed, and that's called shortfall funding. And that's a means of the district communicating to developers who have to mitigate their development in a community by coming up with developer fees to assist with funding projects while money is waiting to come in. So this 1998 mitigation agreement has been applied across the district at the K-8 schools over and over again. Wickland, Bethany, Cuesta, Altamont, Hanson, and Cordes all followed the mitigation agreement. And moving forward into the future, the schools that will be built in J, K, and I will also follow the 1998 mitigation agreement. Just a quick aside, in future development north of Byron Highway, that's J, K, and I, there's a new developer who is the successor of interest of the CalPERS investment, which was associated with many of the schools we've built before. So CalPERS sold to Mr. Mike Sandu. He is assisted by developer consultants at Mountain House Developers and Altamont Development. So College Park, which is in the southern part of the community, is a unique part of the Mountain House unique experience. And so when it came time to build a school in College Park, Evelyn Costa Elementary School, the association with all of that had happened historically in the district and that mitigation agreement had little to do with what was happening. So the original developers, Trimark and then CalPERS, were not necessarily associated with what the plans were in College Park. The 1998 mitigation agreement, and this is an important point, did not automatically apply to the school, and that required the district then to negotiate when it came to funding the schools with multiple developers who had multiple development plans and different timelines. So since 2019, the school district has been negotiating with multiple developers to varying levels of success, which helped gather some of the money and will, through this action item, help reclaim some money that the district had to invest in order to make sure the school got built. And the third part of the uniqueness of College Park is specific Plan 3 addresses the details around the school and student generation and things like that. And it's the only one that of the specific plans 1 and 2 and 3 where it combines 2 neighborhoods, neighborhood A and B. So the current existing College Park map looks similar to this, and this action item is associated with the 3 circles, the yellow circle, the red circle, and the blue circle. Primarily the blue circle, because the action item has to do what's going to happen in tract A2, B6, and B7 in that neighborhood, and B9. So I just wanted folks to see the complicated thing. So Costa Elementary School financing. So the school was built for $60 million, and that includes the construction costs and the soft costs. Soft costs are typically the architectural services, engineering, state improvement models, and stuff like that. We had to address the funding for this particular school in 2 phases. The first phase, which we'll call associated with neighborhood A mostly, we negotiated for quite some time from between 2019 and 2021 with one developer from Mountain House Investors, and that garnered the district $14 million in developer fees. Developer fees being a short or low interest loan. And that was assisted by the Mountain House Community Services District because we actually got the money from them. So we want to thank them. What resulted from that negotiations was a direct and indirect cost term sheets, and that defined how we were going to get the $14 million and how we were going to pay it back. Second thing is the Melrose bonds for that portion of College Park from 2022 garnered the district $19 additional million, which were sold. The bonds were sold in 2022. So we started construction of the school with $33 million. The remaining funds had to be negotiated with different developers who were primarily, their land resides in mostly neighborhood B, though some parts of neighborhood A. And the district embarked on 2 negotiations with the largest landholders in those undeveloped areas. Those negotiations did not bear fruit, and this school district, with the leadership of this board, fronted the money to fund the remaining construction costs of Evelyn Costa Elementary School. So why did we front the cost? And simply put, it's a mitigation term, so I used that, which was developer non-performance of new developers. People new to the community not understanding the long history of the district work with developers and development, which the district had primarily worked with Trimark and CalPERS' associates. So our good faith effort was met with recalcitrance. And so in kind of a non-fancy word nomenclature, agreeing to nothing meant having to do nothing, so they did nothing. However, this district, led by this board, got to work. And in spite of the fact that not all the funds were identified, we put together and built a beautiful $60 million facility, of which is almost half full, educating K-8 students from the neighborhood. So what is the importance of action item 1 and the Pulte contract? This is the first of our multiple negotiations that will happen over time that is going to bring money back as part of the district fronting funds to complete the construction contract at Costa. This contract is associated with 279 housing units, and it reimburses or it takes over the financial responsibilities or impacts of 41.8% of the funds that were fronted by LUSD, meaning money will start to come back to the district. As a result of this agreement, we will be signing a certificate of compliance and sending that to the county, which is one of the approval mechanisms for the county's for these projects to be approved. And we will be releasing building permits to Pulte when they want to pull them. And that's important because those are the 2 methods the district has to hold to account developer non-performance. And it has to be done in a certain way at a certain time, because once those 2 things are done, the district really has no means other than talking a lot to get agreements from the developers. And finally, and this is important, in the ongoing pursuit of funding, this agreement also garners for Mountain House High School's current and future facility needs additional funding that can apply to the current 15 classroom project and or a future project. So we have an ongoing source from this 3 sets of negotiations, this one successfully completed. But there's additional work. So again, certificates of compliance are the gateway to building permits. So they can't, a developer sells to a builder sells homes to individuals pay permits, we get money from fees associated with that transaction. Our role, though the number 1 priority is educating our students, our role to continue to build these great schools and to pay ourselves back for fronting funds is to have a real negotiations with developers down in College Park, mostly on the eastern portion, for their desired projects, and the certificates of compliance will be held, and the permits associated with those will be held until we have a mitigation agreement. They can't get approvals at the county without the mitigation agreement, and they're well aware of this because we've been talking to them for 2 years. And so there's a couple of other projects. The Ravani project or their successor of interest, because they'll eventually sell to a builder. It's approximately 266 housing units. And the Sandu, or a successor of interest builder, of approximately 122 housing units. There are also additional projects coming down the road. We don't know how long. We hear as far as 10 years, and who knows when they might happen. Or earlier is always a possibility. We'll also have to sign a similar mitigation agreement to the agreement that Pulte is signing here, and we're recommending approval. And so why is that important? Well, things change. 1998 was a long time ago. I want to thank Greg Powers, the attorney of Pulte, who commandeered this negotiation. I want to thank Thomas W. Barth, Esquire, our contract attorney, who assisted in this endeavor. And by Pulte agreeing, it now lays a roadmap for all these future agreements. So the district has, again, has funding sources coming back from the money it fronted, has an ongoing funding source for future high school facilities, current and future high school facility needs, and ultimately we can get out of the business of being developers and stay focused 100% on educating 8,000 students and leading them their way to their potential. And then finally, Mello-Roos bonds are projected to be sold in 2025, and that requires that the developers get approved maps by the CSD and by the county, and that they get to work and they start putting in roads and infrastructures and ultimately putting in models. And that's the trigger for bond investors to say, yes, I'll front the money and get the investment, because these are developing neighborhoods, and Mountain House obviously has a wonderful reputation for in bond investments. And with that said, I conclude my presentation, and it is staff's recommendation that we approve action item I for those reasons.
Thank you.
Dr. Nicholas, I want to thank you for the very detailed analysis. This is the first time where we on the dais have, to my knowledge, have gone through some of those challenges and talked about what I'm going to refer to as developer non-performance. And I think everybody in the community knows that I was a developer, worked vice president of finance for the Bay Area division of Pulte Homes, which is the division that we're currently in negotiations with. Worked with school districts to build schools. And one of the things, and I've heard recently, especially with the discussions, about College Park and some of the public comment and some of the Facebook posts where people have, had town hall meetings or whatever with a developer who will remain nameless. And they've talked about all the money that they have deployed, as if to say, we have basically written blank checks to LUSD for schools and to the CSD for this and that and the other thing. And I realized that some of this is actually a matter of public record. At Pulte, when I was a developer, we would go to school districts and they would say, so you're going to donate the land? And we would say, no, we're going to sell you the land. And they'd give us this big wide-eyed look. And we'd say, look, if we donate the land, it doesn't cost you anything, and that's good for you. But it also doesn't increase your costs, and therefore doesn't increase your basis to apply for matching funds from the state. Whereas if we sell you the land for $8 million, you give us $8 million, you have a cost basis in the land that you get to apply, add to the cost to get matching funds, and then we will donate the $8 million back to you. So you get essentially free money from the state. And they're like, well, that's a great idea. Why, holy smokes. And at Pulte, we actually never did, while I was there, we never did a deal where we didn't do that, because it didn't cost us anything. You get $8 million, you give $8 million, you never had it. It is just a paperwork thing to benefit the district. And this is what I would tell the community. The amount that people pay, including districts, for land is a matter of public record. You can look up how much the district paid for Wickland or Bethany or Cuesta or Costa or Altamont or any of them. And if the district did not pay for that land, we didn't get matching funds for the purchase price of that land. It would have, should have, and could have been free money for this district that didn't cost the developer one dime. And you can look yourself and you can see which pieces of dirt the district got, I'm going to actually use the term, got to pay for, and which parcels of land the developer insisted on just donating. And ask yourself the question, if a developer is not willing to go through the paperwork of selling the land and then donating those same dollars back, exactly how supportive are they and have they been to the district? Because it's free money. And I can tell you that not all of them did. Some of them did. We have had land sales on some of our transactions, but we have not had them on all. And more importantly, the land that we will buy in the future should be a land sale. And if it's not, the people of this community should be upset at the developer in question because they missed a trick. And as a preemption, developers will tell you, well, if we sell the land, we donate it back, we risk the PLEP credits. I don't have to explain what PLEP credits are, but the point is, if you have a good attorney, you can paper the deal such that you do not risk your credits. I know this because I've done this. So that is just one facet of the challenges that Dr. Nicholas and his team here at Lammersville have faced year in and year out in just even free money we don't always get. Sorry, I just had to go there. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Clements. Any other comments by the board or a motion?
Move to approve the school facilities impact mitigation agreement with Pulte.
Second.
On a motion by Trustee Boulay and seconded by Trustee Pombo, student trustee preferential vote?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. Moving on to item 12, information and discussion items. Item A, 2023-2024 walking and talking instruction. Staff report?
Yeah, we're going to have Associate Superintendent Thor Harrison present the outcomes of this year's award-winning walking and talking instruction.
Good evening, Board President Olson, trustees, Dr. Nicholas, thank you for having me. Each year at this time, I report out on our walking and talking progress that we've made at our school sites. It is a major district-wide initiative that we use to work with good first-time instruction, collaboration with teachers, and so forth. So what's the purpose of walking and talking? Walking and talking facilitates short visits to the classroom to look at effective instructional practices. There's a reflection on instructional practice and the impact on student learning. The practice promotes professional growth. It promotes collaboration through structured professional discourse. And I'll share later how we structure the discourse with the different groups of teachers. And the idea that if you have a district and schools, let's break it down to an entire district or an entire school or an entire grade level or an entire subject at a high school that are on the same page when it comes to instruction, formative assessment, et cetera, you have a collective teacher efficacy of 1.57. What does that mean? Well, if you have a collective teacher efficacy of 0.40, that is the equivalent of 1 year of student learning. So if you can get all the teachers on the same page, same consistent language, same consistent practices, same consistent ideologies, you can affect a change that's the equivalent of 3 years of learning. Now, that's very hard to do. Getting to that point is very, very difficult. But striving to get there is the work that is valuable to our teachers and to our schools. So walking and talking, I wanted to kind of talk about the scope of walking and talking and the different places that it's discussed or is a topic of conversation, topic of training, a piece of a training, language that's used in training. So at New Hire Academy, new teachers are introduced to the walking and talking process and the verbiage that we use on that document, which I'll show in a minute. Our 20% are greatly affected by walking and talking. Why? Because great instruction gets great results for the kids that need it the most. At some of the last 2 walking and talking events, we asked the teachers to specifically look in the classroom what teachers are specifically doing for students that may not be succeeding, or our 20%. And the conversations we had based on that were very effective and interesting to see what teachers are doing to help students that are in the most need. Walking and talking is very effective when you have sites doing walks, as well as district organized walks. So this year we had more and more sites doing site walks, and I'll talk about the data on that later on. They're very helpful with vertical articulation. When you can get same subject areas together, let's say 7th and 8th grade math with high school math, and they do an instructional walk, it's great for them to collaborate, talk about the instructional practice and what they're doing in their classrooms. So they can speak to the standards and how they're delivering the standards to students in the most effective ways to do so. And the other big piece is our PLC process. When you can have a common language about instruction and what we do, and when everybody says this is an SMO and everybody understands what an SMO is, things go faster. People have an understanding of the nomenclature that we use in our system. So I think you've all seen this before. This is the walking and talking rubric that we use when we walk through classrooms. It's broken down into 6 pieces: the vibe, which is the feeling in the classroom, the SMO, the standards-based measurable objective, and student engagement during the lesson. Checking for understanding, or CFUs, student discourse, and intentional planning. So we look at all these different areas and we look to see are the instructional practices that we're viewing in a classroom bridging, expanding, or emerging. And when we have these conversations during the process, teachers go into a classroom, they stay there for 10 minutes, they get up and they go outside, and they talk about what they saw in the classroom. And the real message to this is a guide for a discussion. The earth is not going to stop spinning if you can't agree if it's expanding or emerging. The most important part of the process is the discussion that teachers have about instruction, what they saw in the classroom. Because once they've had that discussion and they've collegially spoken about what they saw in the instruction, each one of those individuals is going to, in their head, go, hey, I can take that to my classroom and I can do this, or I can do this, and apply it this way. It's a great way to spread good instructional practice. So for this year, we had 145 teachers participate, 27 administrators, 11 coordinators. We had 289 classroom visits. So after each walking and talking, we do a survey of our teachers. I think you've seen this data before. Our data is improving year to year after COVID. As you know, before COVID, we were really moving with walking and talking, then COVID shut us down, and now we're back, I think, to where we were prior, if not a little further. So this chart shows you how many walking and talking instructional days attended by the teachers. So you can see many have done 3, 4, 5, and 6. 38% did 2, and 23% have done 1. So our pie chart's expanding on the multiple days, which is great. And then which describes your initial thoughts about walking and talking prior to participating? Most have positive thoughts. 83% basically think, hey, this is going to be great. 15.7, no opinion, and then 1.4 had a negative thought. So we explain what the activity, how it's going to occur, the process, and then we explain the rubric, which I showed you previously. So 98.5% agree that the purpose was explained well. 100% agree that process was explained well. And then 97% agree that the rubric was explained well. Here's some more data. The model lesson allowed you to practice the process and prepare. 83.3% agreed. So during the introduction of the walking and talking rubric, we do a model lesson that our coordinators facilitate so that everybody can practice looking at a lesson, filling out the form, and then there's guidance by the administrators or coordinators that have done this multiple times. Then we go out to the school sites and do the walking and talking for real. Some more data. The team I walked with listened to my input and shared ideas. That's 100%. That's great, because the most important part of this activity is discourse. Teachers talking to teachers. And when you have teachers sharing ideas and they're accepting the ideas and delivering the ideas free from any sort of ego, it's really good for instruction. The model lesson was well delivered, 92%. Team I walked with was inclusive, 100%. I found at least one strategy to take back to my classroom during the walks. 83% found a strategy they could take back to their classroom. That is a win. And then I found conversation about instruction useful to my craft. 94% agreed. More feedback. So I found the debrief valuable. So at the end of the process, we all go back to the Professional Development Center and we feed them lunch. And then we all talk about what we saw for the day. Specific practices, cool things they saw in the classroom, procedures that they saw, things of that nature. So 94% agreed that the debrief was valuable. The debrief provided insight to other opinions related to effective instruction. 94% agreed. The walking and talking process was good professional development for me. 92.6% agreed. And I would like to participate again. 87% agreed. I thought that was great. This is a key data set. My school has begun site walking and talking. So the walking and talking as a district and walking and talking as a site have equal importance in that when you do site walks, you learn about your team and your school site or your grade level or your content at the school site, but expanding out to another school, you see other practices. You see other great instruction that you can take back to your classroom. So after COVID, we started up again with walking and talking. I think we had 2 or 3 visits last year. This year we had 4 visits. Next year we're going to have 6. And so last year at this time, 37% of the participants in walking and talking had done a site walk when they went to the district walk. So 76% now have done a site walk. So we doubled in a year the data set. That's really, really good. And then which best describes your thoughts after the walking and talking process? Basically 91% thought it was positive. Here's some anecdotal feedback. I won't read them to you, but if you want to take a second to look, there was some specific feedback on the visits that we did, whether we were visiting a high school or an elementary school. The general theme to all of these is that they learned a lot and that they would like to see more. It's kind of like eating chocolate. When you eat one piece, you usually want another. Well, at least I do. And walking and talking is kind of like that. So there's going to be some changes moving forward. We're going to regroup the schools regionally. So we're going to have a northern team and a southern team, and then the high schools in the middle. We're going to do 6 district walking and talking sessions instead of 4, so we're increasing the number of district walking and talking sessions. We're going to shift to a site leadership facilitation of the professional development. So one of the things that happened this year when we had 4 walking and talking sessions, we had a number of teachers visit the high school for one of our walks. We did a big visit to the high school with lots of teams. And the feedback I got from the principals and some of the 7th and 8th grade teachers was, hey, we just want to do a 7th and 8th grade visit to the high school to kind of see what's going on so we can share and see our own departments and whatnot. So we just rolled the dice and went with it in March and added an extra walking and talking and fulfilled the wants of the 7th and 8th grade teachers across the district. That visitation was very successful. So that kind of drove some of the plans for next year, the feedback we received from the teachers that attended those walks and the administrators that attended those walks. At that walk, we had Corinne Pacheco and George Vieira. Thank you. George Vieira facilitate the walking and talking. They did a great job. They did all the same things that we do at the district, walking and talking. And so that kind of was the first dipping the toe in the pool of having administrators facilitate. So with that said, we're going to shift to site leadership facilitating the professional development, and there's going to be a more focus on grade levels and vertical articulation. The feedback we received from teachers, especially this last year, was, I want to see more of my grade level. If you had a first grader going to 7th grade, they really wanted to see K1 or 2, right? Or a 7th grader going into a first grade classroom, they really wanted to see 6, 7, or 8. Or a high school teacher in a 4th grade or a kinder, they really wanted to see maybe 7, 8. Now, I would argue that a high school teacher can learn a lot from a kinder teacher, a whole lot. So, but that was the desire, that's the push for our survey. So we've kind of reorganized how we're going to set it up. This is a busy slide, I'm going to explain it to you. I like to work with visuals, so this is how it works. This is a look into my head. So you have the northern team, which is Wickland, Bethany, Altamont, and Cuesta. You have the southern team, which is Costa, Cordes, Hanson, and Lammersville. And then you have the high school. So if you look at the northern team and you follow the orange arrow to the right, we're going to have 2 walking and talking sessions. The first one is going to be TK2 focused. The second one is going to be 3-6 focused. Then the next visitation is going to be a 7-8 vertical day with the high school. And I'm still working with the high school to try to schedule a vertical day where they can collaborate at the end of the day together as groups or like curriculum content. And then below, it's the same for the southern team. Southern team has the same setup, and they have their own day with a 7-8 vertical day. So one of the things the principals and I are talking about is we may combine the 7-8 vertical day with all 8 schools and do certain subject areas. We might do math and science as a focus, and then ELA and social studies, instead of breaking it regionally. But we're gonna kind of play around with it and decide on that. Bottom line, we're gonna have 6 visits next year. Those visits, so if you see the north team, Wickland, Bethany, Altamont, and Cuesta, 1 or 2 of those schools will facilitate their visits. Same with the southern schools. When we do a high school visit, the high school will facilitate the visit. So traditionally what we do is that all the teams show up to PDC, we feed them breakfast, we do the model lesson, we go out and visit the schools, and then we do the visit, walking around, do all the learning, then we come back and have lunch, and then we talk. This will be a little easier in that we won't be traveling across town, even though it's a small town, it's not that very far, but you can get a lot more done by staying put where you are. So we're gonna stay wherever we are, the visitation school, just do the facilitation the same way, but the site administrator who is hosting will do the host. They will do the whole model lesson piece and going through the rubric, norming everybody, and move on from there. So in closing, I will say that the walking and talking that we do here in the district has grown and morphed and changed. And I think we've done a very good job as a district and an ed services team with all the coordinators. I think we've done a very good job of listening to teachers, listening to administrators, and providing changes that match what the teachers want to learn once they figure out what the process is. They figure out, oh, hey, this is cool and I can learn from this. Hey, can we do this? Can we do that? And we try to listen as much as possible and make it worthwhile for everybody. That is my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
I actually do have a question. On some of the questions and survey, the post walking, talking instructions survey, some of them had like 7% disagree or 5.6% disagree. I found that a little bit concerning. Do you have any insight as to why they disagreed with the value in the exercise?
I don't. I don't know why anyone would answer that way, because when I go on the visits, everybody's having a great time, and it's a really fun professional development event. I do not have an answer for that.
My concern, and again, everybody by now knows that I'm not an educational expert, but my concern on those kinds of responses is I'm hearkening back to when I was in college, and I'd gone to school for 3.5 years, and it was December, and I found out that Sac State was in jeopardy. It was on probation of losing its accreditation. And somebody like me does not invest 3.5 years in a piece of paper only to have it be without value, right? And we were literally within 12 or 18 months of losing our accreditation at Sac State. And I marched into the dean of the School of Business's office, and I said, I don't care what we got to do, don't care who we have to kill. What do we got to do to fix this? Because we've been on probation for 3.5 years, and what I'm hearing is that nothing's been done. And she said, well, we have an reaccreditation committee, and I want you there. And I figured I was there as an undergrad. I figured I was there to take notes and make copies and get people coffee, and I didn't care. I was willing to do that. And I walk in and I sit. It's a big conference room with a conference table with the chairs on the outside, and I sat on the very outside, and the dean came over and said, what are you doing there? And I said, I'm ready to do whatever, make copies, take notes. She goes, no, I have grad students for that. You're on the committee. And what we learned was, my experience on that committee, what we learned was that the businesses in the Sacramento area were the primary customers. They were the ones that were essentially buying our product. And they were telling the university, this is what we want to see, right? But the university wasn't listening. And one of my favorite professors, smartest guy in the room, didn't matter who was in the room, he was the smartest guy. He was the statistics for non-science majors. You had to have that class. He had a monopoly on that class. And as businesses said, this is not what we want, we're not getting the product we want, he just made the class harder, thinking I need to have people know more about statistics. And the problem was, by the time you passed his class, you could debate whether or not a chi-square test was two-tailed or one-tailed, but you couldn't do basic sampling, which is what one of the things that businesses wanted. And I apologize for the long-winded thing, but I literally was a student assistant for him, and we sat down and talked, and I said, look, I'm on this committee, and we're getting feedback that we're not producing the skill sets. And he said, I've been a professor for 40 years. I know more about statistics than anybody else west of the Mississippi River. I know what kids need to know. And I said, Doc, he's since passed away, Doc Beckwith, I love you. You are the smartest man I've ever met, but you're part of the problem. You're insisting on teaching what you want to teach and not what the businesses in the area need you to teach. And we have an obligation to prepare our students. And the reason why I brought that up is the analogy is that I have nothing but the highest respect for the teachers and the classified staff and the administrative staff in this district. They all work very hard. But the thing is if we are moving to walking and talking instruction, and we all have to be pushing on the same side of the flywheel. We can't have half of our teachers buying into walking and talking instruction and the other half not buying into it. And I'm not saying that it is, but if that 3% are teachers saying, I don't like this, therefore I disagree that it has value, that is of concern to me, because we all need to be pushing on the same side of the flywheel. And that's my fear.
So something to consider is, it goes to your example on the professor, is teaching can be a very isolated job. Mm-hmm. And some people are comfortable in that isolation. And sharing what you do best and sharing what you don't do best can be intimidating and scary for some, especially the isolationists. So it can be that new teachers or veteran teachers who are comfortable in a more isolated experience will not like the open, very transparent, here's who I am and tell me what you think. That can be scary and intimidating. So it may be as simple as they need to get more comfortable with the idea that our people are going to be taking a look, or you're going to be sharing what you know. And that just, for some teachers, is not the most comfortable situation.
Thank you for that perspective. Realize I automatically went to the worst possible scenario, which was the only scenario. Like I said, I'm not an education expert, so thank you. I immediately went to, oh my gosh, we have Doc Beckwith.
But how are those surveys given? Are they like an electronic survey that they just fill out like on the spot there?
And they are anonymous.
And anonymous?
No, they get sent after, and they're anonymous. And we
Okay.
take all the data anonymously.
I was just wondering, perhaps, you could add, like, if you said no,
Why?
give some options, this, or
can we
other,
make it
like,
We do give the option to leave an anecdote, which
Okay.
I included 4 anecdotes, and they're very long.
yeah.
And, in the anecdotes, the overwhelming response is, hey, I want to go see
Yeah.
1K and 1, or 2 and 3, or 4 and 5. I'm a 4th grade teacher, and we're at the high school, and that was cool, but I want to go see another school that does 4th grade, and I want to see how they deliver the curriculum that I deliver. So often we get that kind of messaging.
So I think that's great that you have taken the messaging and made some adjustments to meet the needs that you've seen through the survey. That's great.
I would like to offer a different perspective, and that is that any survey that you give to any group of people is likely going to have a number of people who answer in the negative just because.
Are you speaking from experience, Trustee Pombo?
I have answered in the negative a time or two, yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
So you mentioned, I think last year, 289 classrooms were, walked and talked, right?
No, I didn't have last year's data.
Okay, so
you mean
this-
for this school year?
This-
Oh, yeah.
this school
So
year.
it was 289 classroom. Yes, for this school year. Yes.
So, did we cover what percentage of the total classrooms have we covered?
Say again.
What percentage of the total classrooms have we walked and talked this year? Is it 20% of the total classroom, or?
So you mean if we had 1,000 classrooms and we hit 289? So what do you think
I
we
see.
have? Yeah.
What percentage you think we hit in the classrooms?
35 times 8.
I mean,
She's talking about total. So you got to take the total classrooms and divide.
8 divided by 35. That's
2/3.
2/3. Okay, that's a really good number.
Yeah, and
That
that
we-
we're getting to a mass effect, which is why I feel comfortable shifting what we're doing a little bit.
That's great. Okay, thank you. And I and you also shared the feedback, right? And I along with Trustee Pombo was part of one of the walking and talking this year. I was a witness to one of the feedback which I'd like to share, because I don't remember the teacher, but I do remember the feedback. The teacher mentioned that the teacher was from a different school district where they did the walking and talking, and the teacher felt that our walking and talking was so very well organized and easy to follow. So that's something I really remember. So that's on the positive side of it. And I understand I have a different perspective to the discussion we just had, and I like how Trustee Clemens brought out that the concern where there are a few people who are not who disagree, right? So it is their opinion to either agree or disagree, and we just respect it. But it's just a suggestion again, like in the feedback, instead of asking why, and because it's anonymous, maybe we could ask what could we do better, and just listen. you know, to their thought process, or why, you know, what was their interest in order to see. So that's just
You betcha.
something. Thank you.
Well, great job, and I still think that for 2 years in a row, we should have been the Golden Bell Award winner.
Yeah, I'm fired up for this year's.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I apologize for going to my peers on the board for going to the worst possible scenario.
I was beginning to wonder if you had a law degree and were an attorney. Moving on to item B, CSBAA Annual Education Conference. Staff report.
So the dates are coming forward, and we are collecting interest. Our plan is to give forward the information, which we already have in the board packet, and we're planning on up to 6 board representatives attending. And if some individuals don't come, that's fine, but that's what we're planning to do. And we just wanted to let everybody know that's what we're planning to do.
Thank you.
6 board members, 2 staff.
Okay, I was gonna say 6 including you, or, okay, good. Because we don't know who one board member is gonna be, but hopefully they go.
The more the merrier.
Moving on to item 13, calendar. Item A, Thursday, May 23rd, 2024 is the last instructional day of the school year. Item B, Monday, May 27th, 2024 is Memorial Day holiday. The district facilities are closed. And item C, Wednesday, June 5th, 2024 is the next regular governing board meeting at 7 p.m. in the district office boardroom. In a moment, we will adjourn to closed session where we will discuss the following items. Item A, Public Employee Discipline Dismissal Release Complaint, Government Code Section 54957. And item B, Conference with Real Property Negotiators, Government Code Section 54956.8.
Move to adjourn to closed session.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Boulay and seconded by trustee Pombo, student trustee preferential vote.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes with 5 ayes and no noes. We are adjourned to closed session at 8:52 p.m.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.